Hello, Gaddis Gamers. So let's talk about making your miniatures collection, your gaming collection. When you are have your armies and you figure, hey, I'm going to start collecting this. I'm going to get into this. Where do I start? So let's talk about some of the strategies that gamers use to make miniatures collection. The first thing you have to think about, well, how many people am I going to be playing with? Am I playing with people in my house? Is it me and my kids? Is it me and my siblings? Is it me and my friend next door? How many people are going to be playing at any given time? I know we average about 4 people at any of our games. A lot of times games are just one on one, where it's me versus somebody else, or I'm GMing. If there's 3 people, I'll step out and GM a game, and so the other 2 people can have a fuller experience, or whoever knows the rules the best steps out and GMs the game. So you need to think about how many people are going to be playing. So that will kind of tailor how big your collection is going to be. The next one is how long do you want to play? So how long will I be playing this game for? Do I want to play it for an hour? Do I want to play it for 2 hours? Do I want to play it for 4 hours? So what is the length of the game I want to play? And that will tailor what games you choose to bring into your gaming collection. What types of games are you going to be playing? Is it going to be historical? Is it going to be fantasy? Is it going to be board games with miniatures? Are you going to be playing big war games with 50 to 100, 200 miniatures? Are you going to be playing skirmish games between 5 and 30 miniatures? So you have to think about what the model count is going to be. How many miniatures you're going to have on the table. If a game requires like Napoleonics, where some of those require, hundreds of miniatures, or Warhammer 40K that requires hundreds of miniatures. Is that a game you want to get into, and what type of time will you have to dedicate to playing that game with a larger model count versus a game with a lower model count? Okay, so I think one of the most important things you have to think about is, that Marie Kondo, does it spark joy? Is it something that I'm playing because I have a fear of missing out, or is it something that I'm playing because I really enjoy it and I'm going to collect it whether anybody else plays it or not? So that's the period that I'm in right now in my life, is that I will collect miniatures that I like, games that I've played or demoed that I enjoy and I want to get back on the table. Even board games like Zombicide and other games like that. I really enjoy BattleTech. I really enjoyed Leviathans. I mean, there's a lot of niche games that I really have a good time with that maybe other people haven't even heard of. I mean, because I've been doing this for 30 plus years, going on 40 years now. So, and I go back into my collection and I pull games out and kind of reintroduce them to my gaming community, and I ask my gaming community to do the same thing to me. Like, what have you played that you really enjoy? And I found some really good obscure rule sets that haven't really come across my table before. So you should always collect things that you, or add things to your collection that you personally enjoy. So whether anybody else likes it or not, you still have it and you like it. And do you want a complete collection? So going back in time, it may be harder to find older games. Although I've seen people get rid of like things that I thought were extinct, and like I go to a convention and there's a guy with hundreds of them, because he pulled it out of his basement, or somebody in his family passed away and now they're getting rid of the collection. So so do you want a complete collection of whatever it is? Like, I would never get a complete collection of Zombicide, even though I love Zombicide Invader and I love Zombicide, like the base game, and I love Marvel Zombies, which is incredible. But it sparks joy for me. So even if nobody else plays it with me, I enjoy collecting and painting the miniatures. I enjoy playing the game, and that's something that I could do with my family, and have many, many, many hours of fun. And I would love to But I don't need a complete collection of it. I do have a complete collection of Ogre because I'm a completist that way. I love the miniatures. I love playing Ogre. That was like one of my first games that I started playing when I was like 12 or 13. So, it was a lot of fun. Right after, I think D&D was the first games we played when I was like 8 or 9. Um, but yeah, so, and I still have my first edition D&D books as a collection, even though I don't, hardly role play anymore. Um, so, you know, think about that. Think about, will it upset you? Are you a completist? Will it upset you if you don't have a complete collection um, in your uh, in your if you don't have a complete collection? Will it upset you? Will that be like a sticking point? Will it eat away at the back of your brain until you become completely obsessed and will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that last little piece of rosebud? Yeah, some of you old timers will realize that reference. Okay, and another thing: will you be playing at home or will you be playing at a store? Right. So if you're playing at a store, you have much more space than you probably have at your house. I know a lot of people have their murder basements with their giant 20-foot tables and bars and stuff all set up. But do you, or do you have a small dining room table? Do you have a small setup? Do you live in an apartment? So space is a concern when you're talking about a collection and what kind of collection you're going to have. Um, Playing at home versus playing at a store. I know once a week we go over to Dr. Bob's and we play in his murder basement, and he has everything there, everything you ever want. Only thing you have to do is bring your own beverages, but but there's pros and cons to that. I like playing in stores because I like exposing new people to the games and sparking interest in new players and growing the hobby. And you can't do that if you're cloistered away in somebody's basement like monks in an abbey. You want to be out there. You want to be introducing people to new games. You want to be making friends. You want to be growing the hobby that way. So, playing at home versus a store will dictate a lot of that, collection. And I know I've worked out deals with some stores where I've bought stuff and left it at the store. That way I don't have to carry it between my house and the store. And then some stores have lending libraries. I know Armada Games in Tampa has a lending library where you can just go over, check it out from the shelf, and then play it. That's very super convenient. It makes it easy to try out new stuff with friends, and adds to that social aspect to gaming. So, think about that part of it. And do you want to be do you want to specialize in something, or do you want to be a general hobbyist where you just play everything? For me, I because of space limitations, I collect historicals and sci-fi. I have very little fantasy, except for like the RPG books. I have very few fantasy miniatures, except stuff that's been given to me. Just for space reasons. I mean, I tried to get into the Lord of the Rings, but couldn't get it to take off here. But I did keep all my Nazgul, all my ring wraiths. That's something that sparks joy in me, so I kept it. But I mainly do historicals, spaceship gaming, for sci-fi, all kind of weird war, which is just sci-fi in the past. Yeah, so think about that as you're building your collection, as you're making a gaming collection. These are just some things you want to think about as you're out there and you're pursuing it, and what kind of shortcuts or tips do you have in making a collection? Leave your comments below. I really want to hear from you. I really like hearing from you guys. I really like engaging in the community and the comics, because this is a conversation, and this is just the start of that conversation, the jumping off point. So, please, it helps the algorithm. Share, share with people that you think might enjoy the conversation, and do all the things. But remember, most of all, happy gaming.